what you're, excuse me, the person that you haven't discussed at all, who's the sort of 500-pound gorilla, is Bill Clinton, and where he fits in with Hillary and any vice president who is going to have, he really essentially will be vice president if she is elected.
Well, I guess I'll try that one first. President Clinton's role in this campaign has been just amazing to watch. And I think we've kind of seen him come full circle from being a acting presidential and out stumping for his wife, which is obviously very important, I think normal, to literally going after Senator Obama on some of the issues and being kind of the good cop, bad cop. And then I think we've seen him back off from that role somewhat and going back to the role that he was prior to it. His role, his significance in this campaign is huge. There's just no question about it. And I think that many of the Democrats who were supporters of President Clinton and involved in those campaigns and obviously involved in politics during those Clinton years, hold the Clintons in high esteem as well they should. I think I've heard, of course, I'm obviously biased. I mean, and you can tell that, you folks know that I'm been supporting Barack and working hard for him. And so it's, I was personally, disappointed in some of the roles that he has taken. I certainly expect him to be out working very hard for his wife. And obviously he plays an important role, but I think he stepped over the line. I think that the campaign has realized that, and they've are using him in a different capacity now.
I have to say that I was amazed. I mean, to me, there's no doubt the biggest asset, and I don't take anything away from Senator Clinton, but was her husband. I mean, that's why she's where she is, and we all get breaks. And the thing is, I think she has the ability to take advantage. But it amazed me when he became a negative. And I'm not biased like Senator. This is objective, But I was amazed when he allowed himself. He became a negative in his campaign, and I think they've now got him. You listen to this, according to you listen to Fox or CNN, whether he's in the closet or he's just he's more statesman-like now. But that has amazed me, and it's been interesting. You get the sense, and I think it's hurt her. It's like a lot of Democrats are saying, we need to just move on from the Clintons. We need to move on. And so if she wins it, I think it's because of him to start with. If she loses it, it might be because of him too, which amazed me. I never think that'd be a factor. Let me just say, though, spouses are extremely important. And I, for the first time, got a chance to listen to Michelle Obama at the UCLA rally. Boy, was I just blown away. I mean, she's the most impressive spouse I've ever listened to, outside of Brenda.
Smart man.
And get that part, because Brenda is down here next week, the rest of this week watching TV. But she is very impressive, and I think is a great asset. I mean, you have to go back, I think, to Barbara Bush. Is the other person I would say was a huge asset, which nobody even talked about when George Bush first ran for president. I can remember they even said, well, she doesn't compare to, what was his name, the governor, how soon we forget, the governor of Massachusetts. Huh?
Dukakis.
Dukakis, yeah, and his wife. That's how.
Kitty.
Yeah, Kitty, about how, boy, she's going to be a factor. I don't think she was a factor. Barbara Bush, turned out to be a huge factor, still is a factor. I mean, and I think Michelle Obama has that star quality. And in fact, again, when I was talking with my daughter and daughter-in-laws about this, and especially my daughter, who was, I said, wavering, and I was trying to explain to her why she shouldn't waver and if she's going to vote in that primary. And I said, okay, if you're not sure about the principal, look at the spouses. Who do you like best? I think that iced it right there. She was going to vote for Obama. So, again, I think in this case that I think his spouse is truly a huge plus for him, which means a lot in a campaign. Particularly when you're a male and you're trying to get women votes, I think a spouse goes a long way. We've never had it the other way around, so we don't know for sure how it plays because it's, outside of maybe says the wrong thing. But I do think the spouse is extremely important in a campaign like this, and I think that that's a huge asset that Senator Obama has.
If I could follow up, and I agree with Governor Edgar 100% on Michelle and her role. But I was in South Carolina when the Bill Clinton, as the being on the offensive, kind of came to a head. And as I was, and I literally, during the course of the last month, knocked on thousands of doors, and you really do get a chance to get a feedback from the voters and the people that are going to be making these decisions. And I tell you what, the negative feedback with regard to the role that President Clinton was playing in the campaign was just huge. I heard it everywhere that I went, and I think obviously the campaign heard it, and I think it was a reflection of the tremendous win that Brock had in South Carolina at that point in time. So it's interesting.
Please.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, he handed it to me, really. I am a Republican, and what I have found is that I find myself, when I hear Barack Obama speaking, going, why can't that be a Republican speaking like that? With that kind of hope and that kind of crossing the lines and things like that. I know I almost get, thrown things at me and things like that, but do you see a change in the Republican Party? Do you see anything with the leadership hearing the fact that Republicans like myself, who I would not necessarily call myself, I know I'm going to the whole talk radio, but a conservative, where I want to be less government, things like that, but I find that the Republican Party is no longer talking to me or my spouse. Do you think the Republican Party is hearing this at all?
Yeah, that's right. Well, again, I think if you look, the Republican Party isn't all conservative. I mean, if you look at people answering at exit polls, there's no doubt there's more conservatives than there are moderates. We don't use the word liberal anymore in the Republican Party. But I think there's a difference between conservatives and arch conservatives, and I think there's also a difference between some in the Republican Party who you have a different point of view, but you still agree. You agree on 80%, so that makes us Republican. Now we have some who say you don't agree on this 20%, so you're not in my party. And that is a philosophy that's going to end up, we're going to go the way of the know-nothing party. And we might on that immigration issue too if we don't change that. But I think there's a lot of Republicans that probably think like you. Now, you may not have a Barack Obama is a gifted orator. And that's a great talent. I wish I had that. And I think that's important for a president. It's important for a governor, particularly a president, because it does kind of rally people. But there's a lot more to governing than being a gifted orator. Jesse Jackson's could be a pretty gifted orator, and I don't think he would be a real good president, governor, U.S., whatever. You don't get completely caught up. That's all you look for. And I'm not saying that's all there is with Barack, but I do think there are people in the Republican Party, people in position who understand you've got to broaden the base. You can't keep having these litmus tests and saying if you don't agree 100%, you're out of the party. And again, I think the way this nomination is going, it underscores that philosophy still is prevalent in the Republican Party, even though maybe it doesn't sound like the talk radio. You got to divorce the talk radio folks from the Republican Party completely. And some of the people that the news media will go to, the news media has the same thing with the Democrats. They have a tendency to go to the people who are going to shout the loudest and be the most controversial. And again, I don't think that's necessarily where the Republican Party is. And I do believe, again, with John McCain, and I think the same would have been true with Rudy Giuliani, we're going to see a broader appeal from the Republican Party in this election. Whether it's going to be enough, we'll have to wait and see to win. But I think it's moving in the right direction in that regard.
One more question.